Hello and welcome to Author's Feet, a literary program focusing on contemporary authors. I am your host, Empress Ciku Mwaniki. Our guest today is Otieno Opondo. Otieno holds a degree in media studies and works for the Migori County government in the communications department. He's also the author of Peer Pressure. We're here to find out what peer pressure is all about. Welcome to the program, Otieno.
Thank you, Ciku, for having me. I'm grateful for the opportunity. As you've heard, my name is Otieno Opondo. I'm a communication specialist. I'm a humorist. And recently, I became an author of Peer Pressure.
When you decided to write Peer Pressure, did you have the idea? Did you know this is what I was going to write about?
Okay, I would say my experience is in the book, but the trigger, it was a real experience with beer. I had gone to this party, this wedding party, smack in the Kenya-Tanzania border at a place called Isibania. So you know the party how it is. Then after we done the business that brought us there, we started drinking and eating. So I indulged in the beer that was there. So in the process of indulging, we started dancing, and you know the traditional Korean dance. They dance very vigorously as they shake the head. It's called iritungu. So when I started dancing, oh, and by the way, there was a love interest. There was this lady that I was interested in. So we were dancing with her, and then I emptied the content.
Not on her, please.
On her.
No.
So it was embarrassing.
Very.
It was embarrassing.
I'm embarrassed on your behalf.
For two reasons. First, I'm not a drunkard. But then I left the place. Everybody thought I'm an addict. Two, it left a bad taste in my mouth because I felt now my social standing imechuka.
It's gone down.
Yeah, so I locked myself.
And so has the girl. Did the girl come back to you?
The story just went like that.
She disappeared.
Yeah, so it cost me that. So I locked myself in the room for some time, thinking about the consequences of my actions. The idea to write Peer Pressure came. Yeah, because ideally, had I not had that pressure from my friends to drink, I wouldn't have overindulged in beer. Okay. So that's where the ideas for the book came. And the book has nice snippets of my experience,
right.
my personal experiences, but mostly I've drawn the experiences from observing the society and how people behave.
So I'm thinking you've seen somebody, you've seen alcoholics and how much they mess. Because this book is telling the story of a young man who's very promising from the word go, but then the beer takes over his life, and like every decision he makes is brought down by his love for the drink.
Yes.
This young man also has traveled to Uganda, to Tanzania. Is that from your experience? You've lived in both countries?
Yeah, I've lived in Kampala for 4 years. I've traveled to Mwanza. I've been to Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, and Zambia. So you stayed
for like long periods of time to know the
cultures and the culture and the people, yes,
and the people
and their way of life.
Okay.
And if you compare Tanzanians and Rwandans, I mean Tanzanians and Ugandans compared to Kenyans are hung up. We are too. Those guys are carefree. They celebrate, they party. Yeah. They have no care in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think we are hung up?
We
I thought the Tanzanians were more hung up than we are.
Those people at around 4 in the evening, the shops are closed. You will find them. In the beach, in the bars, making merry.
We could claim that they are lazy, but we are not. We work longer.
They are not. But then again, the things that we chase what makes us on toes, be on toes as Kenyans, we are chasing wind. In the end of the day, we need time to relax. There's a quote that says, "What is life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare." I think Kenyans need to find time to stand and stare. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Your target. I'd like to know what your target age is with this book.
My age, the age group, young adults and youth from 18 to 35.
Are they the ones who have been buying your book? Are you able to tell the demographics?
The demographics in terms of age are okay. For online sales, it's a bit difficult, but for the physical sales that I've been making, mostly it's the age bracket I've mentioned. But then I find even adults come to buy, but they say, this book is nice. Let me buy it for my son in university. Let me buy it for my daughter. But then again, what has really shocked me with the book, and I think this is a problem, not really a problem, but it's an issue in readership in Kenya. You find most of the gender, most of like 70% of my readers are female. I don't know why.
I was waiting for that because that is actually a very common observation. Women read more, or maybe women are the ones who buy the books for the home. There's that debate. Is it that women buy the books for everybody else at home to read, or do they read more?
No, I just think women read more.
Yeah?
Women read more.
Why do you think so?
Okay, you know, fiction, there's a way it creates different worlds, imaginations, and things like that. And I think women relate more to the worlds that we create with our books.
Do you think we are trying to escape some reality?
Probably I might say that. But then again, even when I was going through the process of writing, looking for editing and all that, most of the editors who gave me the best feedback were female also.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's something to learn about. Yeah. Talking of online.
Yes. You
have sold this book very well online. Maybe I should tell our viewers that Otieno was second highest selling author on the Nuria list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Nuria has over 200 authors on their list, on their data, and that is huge. Also, that this is his debut novel. I'd like you to tell us what happened, what magic, were you in the right place at the right time? Did you do something like major? Did you push it? And how could you be so lucky? And the story is good, is worth it. So yeah, that's different. But I'd like to know, there are many stories that are really amazing out there, but they haven't done what you've done. What's your secret?
When I started writing Beer Pressure, I was under no illusion as to the enormity of the task that lay before me. But then again, I was shocked at the reception. I thought I'd published the book, guilt trip a few of my friends into buying copies, and that would be the end of it. But then I think it's fate. I think it's luck. Luck played a part. I think it was more of me doing my part and the universe taking care of the rest.
Tell me your part. What part did you play?
Oh, my part, apart from going through the rigorous process of self-publishing, I pushed the book by, as a self-published author, you do the marketing by yourself. So I leveraged on social media, more so Twitter, and I installed on my phone. There's a certain app called Buffer. Buffer is a marketing tool. You can schedule your post even for a whole month. So the post they just post themselves automatically because day-to-day posting you might be busy so I leveraged on that. But then Nuria also came handy. Nuria came very handy because for each of my tweets, they would also retweet. And they have bigger numbers than me. They have many followers than me. So that way the book blew up. And also around last year, I was invited through the online efforts, I was called by Moto Books. Moto Books organized the Moto Book Festival last year. at Village Market. Then there also I made brisk sales. Then through the exhibition, a lady bought that book, an expatriate. She shared it with her book club members. Then they ordered quite a number in bulk.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say fate, and I would also say I played my part, and the universe took care of the rest.
At what point did it hit you that this is big, this is going to be big? And how did you feel?
At the point it hit me that it would be big was when I onboarded my books to Nuria. Yeah, there are other online stores that I onboarded my books, but Nuria did exceptionally well. And you create an account with them, so you can track your sales and everything like that. So I would receive email notification that your order. So after a month, I went and checked, and I checked my account. And the money I saw, I couldn't believe. I thought maybe there was a glitch. Maybe there was a glitch, and Bule did a mistake, but it was real.
It was real.
Yeah, that's the point. I thought of now taking writing authorship seriously, not just as a creator of art, but also what we call entrepreneurship. Yeah, selling my work to get some money.
To get some money.
Yeah.
Did you do anything useful with that money?
I honestly can't point a thing I did with the money. There's no tangible thing that I did with the money. I don't know if this is a problem with all authors, because most of, even my friends, when we talk, we share, most of them also don't know.
No, I can tell you my first one, I have no idea where the money went.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know what happened.
I guess there's a sacrifice of some writing God that happens.
Yeah, you sacrifice to the gods. But then again, the excitement, you feel like now you needed to party, you needed to, what we call, say pole to the body. Yeah, because writing is very grueling. Yeah. And then when you finish, you feel like you've achieved something, and you need to let the steam out. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite writing time? Take me through your writing process. How do you do this? Does it depend on moods? Do you schedule time? Does something trigger you to, like write something? How does that work for you?
Okay, I don't have a specific time for writing. In Luo, there's something we call juogi. Juogi. Juogi is like moods. It's something that possesses you. So I might be sleeping, then I get an idea. I wake up and I scribble. I might be going through my day-to-day activities. I get an idea. I type on the phone, then I'll fine-tune later. So the ideas come randomly. But now once I've written the ideas down, now I need to compile. That's when I can have the schedule. But if I just sit down and say, okay, now idea come, I'll not get the idea. The idea just comes at any time, at any moment.
The same way you get ideas, do you get like prolonged writer's block moments?
Yeah, there are moments that I go without having anything to write.
How long have you gone for? What's the longest you've done?
The longest I've gone is like a year.
A year without writing?
A year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a year. And then there's something I've discovered with me. I function as a writer more when there's dysfunction in my life, when things are not going well, when there are some stresses, when I need to escape from reality. That's when I go into I put pen to paper and write. But when things are just normal, I don't have any stress, I can forget writing.
That is terrible, though.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be, I'm thinking you want to be a successful writer, which you already are, but we don't want you to be a one-hit wonder. But then again, we don't want you to go through turmoil so that you can give us work. Have you thought about the implications of that?
Yeah, I've thought about it. But now, you see, as I said earlier, now I have to take my writing more seriously, because when I wrote the book, I said, okay, people are expecting this thing from me. Let me just do it. Let me just do it and put it out there. But then the success that it has brought me has now made me realize this is something I need to take serious. So it's incumbent upon me to force myself to create time, even without the dysfunction, to now write. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you write for yourself or for the writer, for the reader?
I write for myself.
You write for yourself.
I write for myself because then I'm not bound or I'm not limited by societal expectations. Yeah, I'm carefree that way.
Okay.
Yeah, but then again, if I take now writing as a business, then obviously at some point I'll have to write for the reader. I'll have to check the market and see what the reader wants, and maybe write.
But they've already shown you what they want by buying your book.
Yeah. So maybe I'll do maybe a sequel or write along the lines of Beer Pressure. The same style, I mean.
You're self-published.
Yes.
And I know every self-published writer has drama when it came to the process of publishing the book. What's your drama?
I had lots of drama. But what kept me going was that I had this idealism. If I knew the challenges I would face before I started writing, self-publishing, I would have probably I wouldn't have published the book.
Ignorance is bliss.
But because I was ignorant, I went through those challenges. But then now in retrospect, I look at them as a teachable moment, learning moment, because now in my next works, I'll be able to know how to go about it, to navigate the process. But then again, my biggest the biggest drama I went through was when I was looking for an editor. So I got one. We hadn't met physically, but he's also an author. So I sent him my manuscript for review. He reviewed, then he said, "This thing is good. Now let's go to brass tacks. Let's edit." We agreed on the terms of reference. Then he said that within a month he'll be through. So I waited. 1 month elapsed. The other month was about to elapse, and I started panicking because I would call and he wouldn't pick. So I said, this guy has stolen my book. And as a first-time author, you feel like what you've written is the best. So I thought that was my best idea. Now it has been stolen. Now what will I do, and stuff like that. But luckily, I think he had a lot of work, so he delayed in finishing mine. But after 3 months, the manuscript was done, and I moved on. What also shocked me was the exorbitant prices that the cover designers, the editors, the book layout guys were charging. Even the ISBN number, it was very exorbitant.
Hang on. ISBN number. Where are you paying someone to get your ISBN number?
I was, as you said, I was ignorant. I didn't know. I didn't know you could just walk into the Kenya National Library. In fact, you don't even need to walk. Just go to the website. You pay 1,500.
So how much were you being charged?
I was charged 15,000.
For shame.
I was charged 15. But luckily,
wow.
Through connections, I got Ndugwa Bisai's number. And he pointed me to the right direction.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing that thing hassle-free. Yes.
So did you pay the book, the cover designers and all that?
Yeah, I paid the cover, but now at a reasonable rate.
How much were you being charged at first?
At first, there was a guy who was charging me in dollars. He's a Kenyan, but he charges in dollars.
Oh.
So it was around 40K.
Oh, wow.
It was around 40K. Yeah, if the back and the front.
Yeah.
So the back alone is 20K. If the back and the front, that's 40K.
It's a lot of people making a lot of money out there.
I said, in fact, I said, now let me go into graphics.
I think you should.
Yeah,
I should.
Because it looks lucrative.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then again, I got a guy who charged me reasonably. And through that, I was able to put out a quality work.
So if a new writer, somebody who is thinking of getting their first book out, came to you, what would you tell them to look out for and what not to do? I want you to sum up the process and your lessons.
Okay, the first thing I'll tell a new writer who wants to put his or her book out is first have the manuscript. Then after having the manuscript, look for an editor, and not necessarily an editor, but a proofreader. Somebody will review the manuscript to check on plot holes and stuff like that. And just a word of advice, there are people we call beta readers. These are people that you give your book to check the feedback. When you give your book to a beta reader, the mistake that I did, I ask them to check how good the book is. But because these most of them are my friends, and they will not tell you that the book is wrong. The book has holes. They just told me, this is the next big thing. But so as for an upcoming author, when you give your book or your manuscript to a beta reader, ask them to point out the gaps. That way they'll not feel guilty if they point out the gaps in your books. Yeah. Then when you are done with the manuscript editing and stuff, look for get the ISBN, get the layout guy, do the layout, do the cover design, and most importantly, copyright your work. Copywriting it's around 100 bob.
Were you being charged for copywriting?
Yeah. Well,
how much?
Okay, most of the publishers, it was a lump sum. You find they say the ISBN, the copyright is a lump sum of 20, and that time you don't know what copyright is, so you think it's something
big,
cumbersome, something bureaucratic. Yeah, but it's a simple exercise. Just do it. I did it on the phone. Yeah, and they give you a certificate. Then from there you can now print your work, market, and wait to see the reaction.
To make the money.
Yeah.
Do you read your own work? Have you read this book since you published it?
Yeah, there were days I would read it, but for now it's been long.
Did you see any cringe-worthy errors?
Yeah, that reminds me. I had a cringe experience with my first order from the printer. As I said earlier, I had planned on releasing a few copies and guilt trip my friends into buying. So there was a mix-up between the first draft and the final draft. So the printer ended up printing the first draft that had a few errors here and there. So when I was going through, I took the books, sold some to my friends. Then that's when I was going through, I noticed a few errors here and there, and I had to recall.
How many copies had you printed?
I printed 200 copies.
Oh my God.
So I had to recall like 120.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then destroy everything?
No, I still have them.
What are you going to do with them?
They remind me of that error that I made. So at least next time I won't repeat. So I just have them somewhere. They serve as a reminder. Yeah.
Wow, I'm sorry. That's 200 copies.
200 copies.
A lot of. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yes. But then again, it's also a teachable moment, as I said. These are some of the challenges that self-published authors go through. Yeah.
I would like you to read for us a passage from your book, a passage or two.
Yeah, a passage or two. Okay, the first passage. Claudine tested positive for sexiness.
Sorry, what page is that?
Page 79, paragraph 2.
Got it.
Claudine tested positive for sexiness, unlike the minister's daughter, and the long, meaty testing swab in my trouser kept nodding in agreement. I had to sit crossing my legs, cleverly or pocket, to avoid any awkward situation. Luckily, being a forward-thinking man, Martin had advised me to pick a few personal protective equipment, PPEs, from a chemist. As I sat there drooling for Claudine like an avaricious politician who had just come across a lucrative government tender, I eagerly waited for the opportune time when I'd be on lockdown with her so that I could put into good use the 2 packets of World Health Organization approved masks of the latex variety that protect one against pandemics such as sexually transmitted infections and unnecessary child upkeep suits. The next...
Can I just comment? It's the way you describe that scene it's so sanitized. I'm just thinking, is that deliberate? That the way you've gone like the World Health approved, instead of just saying condoms, you're calling them latex. And I'm very curious about your choice of words.
My choice of word was deliberate. This was the time we were having Corona. Yeah, so I talk about Claudine tested positive for sexiness. Yeah, and the long meaty testing swab.
So those are like the frequently used words at that time.
Yeah, at that time.
And the WHO.
Yes.
Very clever. And I thought that was funny. I read it twice also when I was reading. I'm like, the choice of words is quite curious. Yeah,
and I also think this also highlights the role of the writer in society.
Yeah.
You just don't write for the sake, but you're also an archiver of history. Yeah, so at least I've archived that bit of the terminologies that were being used around that time when we had Corona pandemic.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the next?
The next is on page 84.
84, we got it.
When I remembered the day my mother had administered the first jab against the beer virus to me in the company of a sadistic mob of people I considered as relatives and neighbors, I said a silent prayer. That beating, nay lynching by my mother and relatives, had seared the fear of beer into my consciousness. I vehemently rejected the 2 bottles of cold beer the waitress placed in front of me. The waitress gave me a look that suggested I was in the wrong place and swung her buttocks away as she went to fetch for me a bottle of a cold, soft drink. I nursed this bottle sheepishly as Claudine handled her beer like an expert. The club was teeming with sexy waitresses, and once in a while, I screened them with my eyes, though the throbbing 9-inch organic thermogun under my boxers kept beeping for Claudine.
You're quite a show-off. You've made this one quite, something. What sort of reviews were you getting?
Mostly positive. But the question that kept popping up, people asking me, are you the main character?
I asked that as
the main character is Timon. Are you Timon? But then again, I also had a mixed, not so positive reviews. But there was one which shocked me. There's a reviewer who said that the book is misogynistic.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I wondered why, because it wasn't intended. When I set out to write, I didn't
pick that, and I'm very quick to pick stuff like that.
Yeah, I wondered where she picked that kind of stuff from.
Maybe because Timon was sleeping around, I guess.
Probably. Maybe she felt I objectified women. I don't know. Yeah. But that wasn't my intention.
Okay, how did that make you feel? Does that make you like pull back and like, that's not the message I was trying to pass?
Yeah, it makes me pull back. But then again, you know, once the book it is out there, you don't have control. You know, you can't dictate how people will react to it, how people will feel towards it.
And you cannot win them all.
You can't win them all over. But the good thing with any review, whether good or positive, I mean, whether good or negative, at least it shows that people are reading your work.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely.
That's the most important thing for me right now, that people are reading
your work.
Yeah.
Do you have a shortcoming that you wish you didn't have?
Yes.
What's that?
I'm mostly introverted. I stay indoors a lot. I sometimes feel my life would have been better had I been an outgoing person. Yeah.
Some extroverts might disagree with you.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. You say you're an introvert. I get very fascinated by introverted authors because when I need inspiration, I go out. I need to be with people with action that it triggers stuff. Where do you get your inspiration?
I just create stuff on my head. Yeah, mostly in my head there are quite a number of tabs which are running concurrently.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might find me sitting quietly, but then there's a lot of things going on in my mind. So I create make-believe worlds. Yeah, as I said earlier, I escape in those imaginary worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, but still you'd have to have gone out with people for an idea to settle in your head, right?
Yeah. When I need inspiration, I normally take walks, nature walks.
That energizes you?
It energizes me. I go, I walk around, because if I spend a lot of time with people, I feel like I get exhausted, and then I'll have to go hide somewhere and recharge.
Okay.
But when I take a walk through the nature, it's therapeutic, and it's also calming. There's that calming effects, and it makes everything clearer.
What would be your perfect writing destination if you're told you can choose any place in the world to go sit and write for 2 weeks? Where would that be?
Oh, I don't have any specific place, but I would.
The kind of environment, maybe?
I would like to go to these Oriental countries. They are very spiritual people. They like meditating. The China, Thailand, Malaysia, such like countries.
Okay.
And the sceneries are also inspiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where do you get most pressure from? Yourself or from the writer or from the reader?
I get pressure from myself mostly because, as I said first, I write for me. And my pressure comes from trying to be a better version of who I was yesterday. Yeah, so like if yesterday I published Beer Pressure and it received success, now it pressurizes me to now get another book out that will surpass the success I got with Beer Pressure. Yeah, so I get pressure from myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pressure for yourself is better than pressure from other people. Do you have do you shock people when they meet you? Is there some expectation they have and then they don't see it? And is there a question that is asked very often when people meet you for the first time?
Okay, when people meet me for the first time, they usually say I'm a quiet person. I'm a quiet person. I'm a man of a few words. But later when we get to bond, when we get to interact, I open up, and now they start wondering, is this the same person that we saw who was very, very calm and quiet? Why is he all of a sudden cheeky and funny?
Yeah.
So
multiple personality, maybe?
Not necessarily, but for me to open up to somebody, I need to take time with that person so that I can trust them to open up to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you attend literary events?
Yeah, I attend literary events, but now given that I'm outside Nairobi, the logistics of it becomes a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But mostly I attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a writer, an author you look up to? Could be local or international? Locally,
mostly. I look up to, I wouldn't be specific, but I look up to the Kenyan writer. The Kenyan writer has, against all the odds, the Kenyan writer has done well.
Who is a Kenyan writer? Is it like a general thing, or is there
the general Kenyan writer? Yeah, the Kenyan writer. Because there was a point, I think the early 2000s, when Kenya was viewed as a literary desert. But then things picked up in the 2010s, around that time, and Kenyans started writing, started putting out books, despite the environment not being conducive.
Yeah.
They've been the Kenyan writers been consistent. The Kenyan writers been very passionate, and the Kenyan writer is a go-getter. So the Kenyan writer is the one I look up to the most.
Okay.
But if you pin me down to specifics, I'd mention Meja Mwangi. Yeah.
Very good choice.
Yes.
I'm with you there. I know you said you've got some books, non-fiction you're writing about.
Yes.
But what's the earliest we can expect one of them?
The earliest is December.
This year?
Yes.
We're almost coming to the end of the program. But I'll give you an opportunity to do a parting shot. Anything.
Okay.
Tuma salamu.
Okay. Okay, salamu ningependa kutuma. I'd like to pass a shout out to the people who've stood with me along this journey. First of all, there's Eric Livumbazi. Eric Livumbazi is the author who first went on my inbox and told me to write. There's Masi Kibira of Moto Books Festival. There's Abdullahi Bule and Chief Bennett Owonda of Nuria Bookstores. Those are people who've really been of great service to my journey. Not forgetting Cynthia Abdallah. Yes. My parting shot, I'd like to say what basketball coaches tell their players. Focus on the ball, not the audience. Thank you.
And there you have it. Opondo, an interesting guest. Thank you so much. We come to the end of today's program and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.